All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Walters. This is Mike Talks Sports. And today I am going to be talking a little bit about the New York Knicks and what is going on with Jalen Brunson. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Giants firing their head coach and now searching for a new coach. So let's get this show on the road. All right. Well, I feel like today I'm going to start with the Giants. Okay, so the New York Giants this season, they didn't really start the season out very well. I think they have a record of 2-8 right now. Yes, they just recently lost their game. I think it was against the Bengals. They only lost by 4 points. And after that loss, they just decided to just get rid of their head coach. I think his name was Brian Daboll. I'm not gonna lie, not to disrespect Daboll. Daboll was an okay coach, but he wasn't the best coach because number one, I would say mm, he basically one thing I would say about Daboll is that he knows how to scout players. He wanted Jackson Dart, and I'm not gonna lie, he is not doing too bad. Dart is not a bad quarterback. Scatterboo is not a bad running back, but he's not really a good coach because in some of his schemes, like there were some games this season, where the Giants looked like they could have won the game, but Daboll he didn't make the right play for them to win. He didn't, and it's like because of that, that's what got him fired. The Giants failed to close out certain games. I heard against the Cowboys, they had a big lead and ended up losing. And I'm like, seriously? Like, you're a better team than the Cowboys. But I don't know. It's like Daboll, I feel like it was time for him to go. Like, the Giants were tumultuous throughout his time as a head coach. I think they only made it to the playoffs once, and that was it. And it's like, I don't know. Looking at that now that they fired him, I feel like more players may actually shine because I remember when the Giants signed Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, it's like after 2 games, he gets taken out of the whole quarterback rotation. He instead of being QB1, he's now QB2, the backup to the rookie that he's mentoring. And yes, people may say, oh, it's because Russell Wilson is not the same quarterback, or it's probably because he's a little washed or whatever. It's probably that, but it's also the fact that Daboll never liked him from the get go. Daboll only wanted he only wanted to develop Dart. He didn't really care too much about Wilson or Winston. But, it is what it is. Um, I feel like it was the right decision to fire Daboll because I feel like the Giants, they feel like they have enough talent for the future so they can, potentially make it to the playoffs once again. Well, I don't know. I feel like they should take their time in finding a coach, probably do something like what the Knicks did. Be patient, like take as much time as you need to find a good coach because if you rush and hire some random dude who got fired somewhere, it probably is not going to work in your favor. So take your time and find yourself a new coach. And also, the Giants need to get more defense because I'm not going to lie, their defense kind of sucks. So they need to improve on that as well. So my prediction is obviously they're not making it to no playoff game or anything this season, but maybe next season we may see a change. So that's all I have to say for now about the Giants. All right, so right now I'm going to talk about the New York Knicks. Okay, they had just recently had a 5-game win streak in the Garden. Like, I was watching a game the other night. They were playing against the Memphis Grizzlies. They were beating the Grizzlies, I think, through the first like 3 quarters. They said the Knicks had about a 26-point lead. against the Grizzlies, but they let the Grizzlies cut it down to 10 in the fourth quarter. And I'm not going to lie, they still managed to win, but they allowed too many three-pointers to go down for the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies were missing in the first three quarters. But then in the fourth quarter, some of their players just start hitting their three-pointers, and they cut the lead down to 10. The good thing is that the Knicks did not allow them to go past 10. So while did it, well, yeah, they didn't allow them to go to cut the lead down, to single digits basically. So they basically they basically just held on to their lead, just allowed them every time they respond, they score again. That's how they ended up basically winning by 13 against them. But I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at the press conference. Brunson was talking and they were interviewing him for the post game, and Brunson clearly didn't look that pleased that they won by just that amount. He probably thought that the game should have been over when they had nearly a 30-point lead, but instead they brought life to the Grizzlies that were clearly discombobulated throughout the entire game. They gave them life, and obviously Brunson didn't like the way how they ended the game, but they still got the win. But they had to make some adjustments, and then they played the next game, national televised game against the Orlando Magic in Madison Square Garden, and that game was, I cannot say it was a massacre, but it was probably one of the worst games I've seen the Knicks play since Thibodeau. I'm just gonna be honest. It was terrible. They lost 124 to 107. So basically they lost by 17 points. That game was just terrible to see. The first quarter alone was terrible. It's like, I'm not gonna lie. Brunson looked like he was hitting his shots, but everyone else was missing. And they were not moving the ball around. Instead, you saw ISO ball throughout most of like the game. And also, one thing that I did notice is that the Knicks were getting a lot of foul calls. Well, they were committing a lot of fouls, basically. Like, I've seen people like Franz Wagner go into the paint and just easily score on the players down there, easily score on Cat, easily score on Robinson, easily score on Bridges and Anunoby. And even when they play good defense, foul, foul, foul. Like, I don't know. I was watching the game and I was like, is this really a home game for the Knicks? Because why the hell is the Orlando Magic getting more foul calls than the home team? Make that make sense, NBA. Like, that does not make any damn sense. But I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like, some people were saying that game may have been rigged. You can't really say that, but I'm not going to lie. Them refs were acting very suspicious with them calls, but it is what it is. The game already ended, but some factors did play in the Knicks losing that game. Number one, they played a very crazy game the day before. They played against the Grizzlies. They won, even though they should have won by more. And then they had to literally come back the next day and play again against a well-rested Orlando Magic squad. Like, the Orlando Magic, I heard, they wanted this matchup. They wanted to play the Knicks so badly and beat them up. Well, all I have to say is, New York, the next time you play Orlando, blow them out in their home court, because we already know they call down there in Florida MSG South. I don't know why, but they claim it's because there's a lot of Knick fans down there. Well, it is what it is. I don't know. It's just this weird thing people be saying. But yeah, go down, because I hear you're playing against Orlando next week. Go there and blow them out by 20 or 30 points, because we already know the Orlando Magic do not hit those threes every single game. No, they're a terrible team at shooting threes. But it was just the fact that the Knicks were very lethargic, and their offense and their defense was not connecting. Like they were simply just tired. But there was something that did happen in that game with about, I think it was like a minute and 54 seconds left of the game. The Knicks were down by 16. Brunson tries to go draw a foul, and instead he tweaks his ankle and falls to the ground. And yes, they say he shot his free throws, but he did ended up going to the locker room. But it's like people even said that they saw him leave the garden on a walking boot and crutches. So people were like wondering, is it a significant ankle injury? But it only turns out to be a grade 1 ankle sprain, meaning that it's the lowest. It's like the lowest, like kind of ankle sprain you could get, but it's not that. Basically, it's not that severe. But he still had. Well, he probably is going to miss a few games, like probably say maybe about 3 games, because they say he's considered day to day. So he may probably only miss like maybe about 3 to 4 games, maybe 5, depending on what how like the rehab or wherever it go will go. But I feel like the Knicks can survive without him. People are there saying, "Oh, the Brunsonless Knicks cannot survive without Brunson." That's technically not true. They actually were winning games last year when he was out, because technically sometimes when Brunson's not playing, the Knicks defense actually is better, because Brunson, he's all offense, and because of his height and his size, he's not really the best defender. So not having him there, their defense is going to jump, but their offense may take a hit. But this year is different because they have Jordan Clarkson off the bench, who could provide instant offense. So they do have more depth. So that's how I believe the Knicks can survive without Brunson for a few games. So my prediction is that, well, tonight they're playing against the Miami Heat. Miami Heat does not have Bam Adebayo or Tyler Hero. So I would say you should just beat them. You're playing in the Garden. Beat the Miami Heat, because they beat you earlier this season. So really, that's all I have to say today for all the stuff. Well, that's all I have to say today, folks. All right, so this is the end of the episode. Hopefully next week's episode is a little bit longer. Hopefully I have more to talk about next week as well. So this is Mike Talks on Sports. I'm Michael Walters. Have a good day. Peace.